What's up everyone, Colonel Fats here, coming at you with episode 6 of the Fatty Fighters training series. In this episode, I'll be going over safe jumps and other ways to stop the invincible attacks that we learned in the last episode. So without further ado, let's get started. Alright guys, now that we're in training, what exactly is a safe jump? Well, if you learned from my last video in episode 5, certain characters have DPs, which are invincible startup moves, as well as everyone has a DP, which is their level 3. And a safe jump counters that. It's essentially an overhead attack, a jumping attack, that you do the attack close enough to the ground where the animation cancels fast enough to allow you to block the DP or the invincible attack. Kind of hard to explain, but once you get the hang of it, you kind of get it, and I'm going to go over a quick training method that you can use to actually test this out, so let's get into that. One thing I wanted to mention before we get into the actual training is this training does rely specifically on your ability to instant air dash. Now, this game's been out a while, and I didn't really figure out making an entire video on instant air dashing, but if you're new to the game, you absolutely need to learn how to do this, and a quick way to do that is I would just practice jumping over the guy. Just keep going back and forth. And if you fail, well, you keep going. How you instant air dash, there's two ways. How I do it is I cheat using the super dash button. So when I'm holding forward in the air with the super dash button, it'll do that. So it's kind of, you know, if you want to go animate, notations 9, 6, 6 and the right trigger at the same time. It's very important if you're going to use that method of the right trigger to make sure you let go of up. So, to hit 9, you have to do 8 and 6 at the same time, right? Well, if you're still holding 9 and 6 while you're doing it, it doesn't always work, and you can super dash, which can get you 2H, it can get you in a lot of trouble. So, it's well worth it to practice your instant air dashes. I would just, if you don't have it down, do this for every fighters match you go into. It can really, it doesn't take too long to really start getting the hang of it, but this is a vital movement that I say everyone needs, and we will especially be using it because it's detrimental in safe jump. Alright, back to the training. So to get this started, you typically want to just pick a character with the DP. It's much faster than watching the level 3 animation over and over again. So I got my boy Vegeta here. We're going to set him to counter attack with his DP, and we don't really care if he's guarding or anything like that. But we're going to set it to quarter circle back medium, which is his DP, so when he gets hit, when he's able to hit buttons again, he's going to do that. So now the next thing to do, there's probably faster characters, but 21 wipes is for Lifu, so we'll just do a 21. For her to get a hard knockdown, she's got to do a sliding, so now I get the timing. So as you can see, that was perfect. The instant air dash came in, and usually you want to use your heavy, because it's a one big hitting attack with lots of stun, rather than doing like that, because they can DP through that. Usually you're too high to get both those hits, whereas the heavy can be used much lower. But as you saw, my overhead would have hit him if he blocked low or didn't do anything. But because he DP'd, I was actually able to land and then block. So it was a combination. It hit overhead and it left me able to block his DP. And then we all know with DPs, you just wait. If he doesn't vanish, 2H. If he does vanish, well, we waited, so I'm 2Hing it. So it's a really good way to practice your safe jumps. I'd recommend probably not using 21. Like I said, use a character who can get a hard knockdown much easier. Like, you just do scrolly, send them up, send them down. Yeah. See? Now the key is, you instant air dash in, do your heavy, but then you immediately go to down left. You block. You just hold block. Because you don't know if that shit's going to hit or not. And if it does hit, you do have a lot of time to react on the confirm to combo. But if it doesn't hit, you're safe to block. So, like I said, send them up, send them down, try to time your stuff. Now, there's one thing to be wary of in these corner scenarios where you get the hard knockdown, and you're trying to just keep pressure by doing an instant air dash, giving that overhead, while also making it safe and stopping any DP attempts. Well, your opponent does have a little trick up their sleeve. They can actually delay their wake up, and it is actually random. I mean, you could delay it for a little bit of time, you could delay it for a lot of time. I mean, it's up to, I think this number is 30 frames. But if you go into the enemy settings and go to delayed stand, you can go anywhere from 1 all the way up to 30. So we'll just leave it at 0. So he's not delaying his shit at all. He pretty much just gets up and does his DP. But now, say we jack that up to 30, and do it again. Well, that just completely throws off all safe jump timing, and now you really don't know what to do. So now this can be a good way to really work on your corner setups as well, not just safe jumps, but it can really throw you for a loop when your opponent starts delaying their wake up and then DPing, which in my case is if your opponent's on that level and they're really trying to mess with you, but they also really like DPing, if they're going to delay it, I would recommend, if this is like in a match, this isn't training, you do safe jump, you realize he hasn't gotten up, just stop hitting buttons, stop doing things, call in an assist and just wait. If anything, he DPs your assist and then you're sitting there wide open for punishment, or punishing him, that is. So I think that's just a really good way of getting people who are really good at delaying their wake ups, changing up the timings and everything like that. And if you really wanted to test your jump in strategies, you can change this to random so you don't actually know when he's going to do it. You kind of gotta react to him getting up. See, he didn't get up there, so my timing is off. So it's kind of tough. And see, then I try to do it. So if your opponent's consistently, getting up real fast and then reflecting or DPing, safe jumps can truly work. It's a super good defensive tool. Offensive defensive tool to keep pressure on your opponent, and it's definitely good to bait out those DPs and invincibles. That's going to wrap it up for episode 6 of the Fatty Fighters training series. I hope you guys start practicing those safe jumps and stop avoiding all those DP mashers out there. It's one of the most frustrating things when you got a sweet mix-up coming with your kid boo assist or something, and then all of a sudden it's just shut down by DP. So these safe jumps, huge improvement to your game if you don't know it already. Next episode, we're going to be focusing on grab characters and how we can use them effectively. I have pretty much fallen back in love with Dragon Ball Super Broly. He's nuts. He has 6 fucking grabs. It's crazy. So if you guys are looking forward to that, let me know down in the comments. Like, follow, subscribe, do all that jazz. I'll see you guys next time. Peace.